What's up guys, today I've got my hands on the brand new CHUWI AuBox Mini PC, and listen, this tiny box might just embarrass your massive desktop tower. It's powered by AMD's Ryzen 7 8745HS, that's 8 cores, 16 threads, promising serious power in something smaller than your lunchbox. We're gonna unbox it, test it, game on it, and see if it's actually worth your money. Roll the intro. Now before we get too hyped, let's talk money. Right now the CHUWI AuBox goes for around $449 on CHUWI's official website, discounted from $549, and you've got two options, 16 plus 512 or 16 plus 1 terabyte. Not bad at all for a Ryzen 7 mini PC with upgradable parts. Now inside the box you get the usual paperwork, which I'm going to pretend I read, a VESA mount, a 120 watt power adapter, and the mini PC itself. Now if we talk design, it's clean, compact, metal and plastic build. It weighs around 740 grams, about the same as two smartphones stacked. Alright, now let's talk specs. This mini PC is running the AMD Ryzen 7 8745HS. That's 8 cores, 16 threads, clocked at up to 4.9 GHz. For graphics, we have the integrated AMD Radeon 780M. This mini PC also has 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM, upgradable to 64 gigs. And for storage, we have a 512 GB PCIe 4.0 SSD, and that can be swapped out for a 2 TB drive. And I believe you have an additional spare M.2 slot to play with. This thing also features Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.3, dual 2.5 Gb Ethernet ports. It's running Windows 11 Professional, and this supports quad display out at 4K 144Hz. Now let's check out the ports and connections. On the front we have an AMD Ryzen sticker and a physical power button. On the side we have a USB-C 3.2, we have two USB-A 3.2 ports and a Kensington lock. On the other side we have a physical power button, a USB 4 Type-C port, 3.5mm audio jack, we've got a DisplayPort 1.4, HDMI 2.1, we've got two USB 2 Type-A ports, and then we have two 2.5 Gb Ethernet ports. And if we keep going, you've got some vents on the left, that brings us back to the front, and then you've got more vents at the bottom. So air vents everywhere. This thing breathes better than me after leg day. Stick it under your monitor or mount it to the back. It's proper stealth tech. Now let's talk upgrades. This thing surprised me. You can unscrew the base by removing 4 screws. So you can see the full top metal case comes right off, giving you access to the internals. And then you've got two SO-DIMM slots for your RAM, and only one of the slots is occupied with 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM. So technically you can have 32 gigs per slot, giving you a maximum of 64 gigs of RAM. And here is your 512 gig M.2 SSD and a spare M.2 SSD right next to it. So technically you can have two 2 TB SSDs side by side, which is mental for such a small box. Big brands need to learn from this. Now on paper the specs are amazing, upgrade options are great to have, but what matters is the real-time performance. So everyday use is smooth AF. You can have 40 tabs open in your web browser, you can have 4 apps running at the same time, video editing, it handles 1080p and 4K timelines like a pro, and this is the full version of Windows 11 Professional, complete with the Windows App Store, so you can download all your favorite games and apps. And here is a quick look at system properties to confirm some of those specifications. So you can see there AMD Ryzen 7 8745HS with the Radeon 780M graphics, clock speed 3.8 GHz, and it turbos up to nearly 5 GHz. Installed RAM 16 gigs, usable 12.8 GB. And this is of course a 64-bit operating system, Windows 11 Professional activated and ready to go. And quick look at system resolution, you can see it shows 3840 by 2160, that is 4K resolution. And if we take a quick look at system storage info, we have 512 gigs of internal storage, from which 474 gigs are actually usable. And that second drive you see right there, that's my 128GB USB flash drive loaded with all my 4K video samples, which we are going to be testing right now. So let's fire up a few 4K clips straight from the USB drive and see how this thing handles it. Starting off with a high bitrate 4K jellyfish demo. This one's around 160 megabits per second and it plays beautifully. Pushed it further with the 180 megabit per second sample and it's still smooth. And even the massive 400 megabits per second 4K file, no stuttering, no lag, it handles it like a champ. Next up, I played a bunch of 4K 60 samples in various HDR formats, and again smooth playback across the board. No buffering, no drop frames, no drama. Even different file types and HDR formats all work perfectly right out of the box using the default media player. So I didn't have to install a single codec, it just worked, clean and effortless. And moving on to some YouTube streaming, starting off with the usual Costa Rica clip, and YouTube does support 4K 60 with HDR. Alright, so moving on to some gaming, starting off with GTA 5 Enhanced Edition. Resolution is set to 1080p 60Hz and the graphics are set to high with ray tracing off. And you can see we're achieving just under 40 frames per second average. So to improve that frame rate you could drop the graphics down further, but this is what you can ultimately expect from GTA 5. Okay, the next game we're playing is Undisputed Boxing. Resolution is set to 1080p and I've got the graphics preset maxed out to Ultra. And you can see we're achieving around 27 frames per second. And the game's not playing bad, with the TDP peaking at around 54 watts. And thereafter I dropped the graphics preset down from Ultra to High with the aim to boost that frame rate a little bit higher. You can see we're achieving just under 40 frames per second. The gameplay is much smoother, looks and plays much better. TDP peaking at around 53 to 54 watts. So this is what you can expect from Undisputed Boxing. Alright, so now we're playing WWE 2K25 1080p resolution, and I dropped the graphics down to its lowest, so most of the graphical settings are toned down to its lowest, and I even had to reduce the audience density, and then I was able to achieve close to 55 frames per second. So this game is quite graphically demanding, so I had to tune it down quite a bit in order to achieve the current frame rate. Alright, so next up we're playing Assassin's Creed Mirage. Resolution 1080p, and we have the graphics preset set to its lowest. And this is what you guys can expect from this game. We're achieving just under 30 frames per second with the TDP peaking close to 48 watts. Alright, so while we're here, we may as well test out some PS3 emulation. And I'm playing one of my favorite games on the PS3, that's Fight Night Champions. 720p native, and you can see we're achieving a comfortable 30 frames per second. And it plays as well as it does on the PS3, looks and plays great, can't really fault it. And you know you're going to see Mike Tyson knock out Haymaker any second now.
His opponent with the overhand right. Teddy, I don't think he's solid. David Hayes, lazy defense, just caught him. A hook floored him. And it wasn't the shortest punch.
So that brings us to our benchmarks, beginning with Geekbench single core score of 2450 and multi-core score of 9890. And in 3D Mark Time Spy, this mini PC achieves an overall score of 1940. And in 922, we have an overall score of 935k. And to give you a better idea of where this mini PC stands, here is my top performing mini PC chart of 2025, showing you the latest mini PCs and handhelds and exactly how they stack up against each other. Now every mini PC on this chart is ranked by Geekbench multi-core scores, so higher the score, the faster the device, and the higher it ranks on this chart. Simple math. But don't worry if you're not into benchmark numbers, I've also given each system a rating out of 100 based on features, specs and overall value. So you can see not only which one is the most powerful, but also which one gives you the best balance overall. So based on that, the CHUWI AuBox lands at position 16 on this chart with a Geekbench multi-core score of 9890. And considering its feature specs and real-world performance, I'm giving this little beast an overall rating of 80 out of 100. Furthermore, you can check out all my latest updated charts over at chigztech.com, browse them anytime completely free of charge, and see how your favorite devices compare. So there you have it, guys. That was the CHUWI AuBox. Now the CHUWI AuBox Ryzen 7 packs more punch than you'd expect from a box this tiny. You're getting a proper 8-core 16-thread Ryzen 7 CPU with Radeon 780M graphics. And it absolutely flies through daily tasks, editing, streaming and light gaming. It's got serious versatility too. You can connect up to 4 displays at 4K 144Hz, so whether you're editing, monitoring stats or flexing your setup, this thing can handle it. The connectivity game is strong. USB 4, dual 2.5 Gb LAN, HDMI 2.1, DisplayPort 1.4, Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.3. That's basically everything you need in one clean little box. Another big win is how upgrade friendly it is. CHUWI actually thought this through. Pop off the base and you've got dual SO-DIMM slots for RAM and 2 M.2 PCIe 4.0 slots for SSDs. Future-proofing done right. It also runs Windows 11 Pro straight out of the box, so you can plug in, power up and get to work immediately. For the price, it's one of those rare cases where the performance, features and value all come together beautifully. Small form, big energy. Now onto the caveats. It's not all sunshine and RGB lights. The biggest limitation here is that there is no dedicated GPU. So if you're dreaming about 4K ultra settings or heavy 3D rendering, calm down. That's not what this thing is built for. The Radeon 780M handles light gaming and creative work really well, but you will eventually hit its limit. The unit can also get a little toasty under load. Nothing extreme, but the fans definitely lets you know it's working when you push it hard. Another small gripe out of the box, CHUWI ships it with single channel RAM, which slightly limits the GPU bandwidth until you add another stick. So a quick upgrade will unlock better performance. Build quality is solid but not premium. It's more practical than flashy. And whilst CHUWI has come a long way, BIOS updates and long-term support aren't as frequent as brands like B-Link or Minisforum. So enthusiasts looking to fine-tune everything might feel a bit restricted. So bottom line, at the end of the day, the CHUWI AuBox is like that quiet kid in class who suddenly aces every exam. Small, unassuming, but seriously capable. It's perfect for creators, professionals, or anyone who wants power without the bulk of a desktop tower. It won't replace a gaming rig, but for its price and size, this thing delivers real performance and ridiculous value. Compact, efficient, and surprisingly fun to use. Definitely a mini PC worth having on your radar. Now if you want to see more of my latest and greatest unbiased tech reviews and videos, then hit the like button, sub to the channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.